How's it hanging, dudes? My name is Sean and welcome to Jurassic World Evolution, the review. That's right, guys. I want to give you guys an honest review. I guess you can kind of probably tell how the review is going to go because it's coming from me. I'm one of the most outspoken dino tubers out there, and hopefully this game allows us to be dino tubers for quite some time. I doubt that, and I think we might have to transition eventually. But we definitely want to review this game because at the very least, after the DLC and after, you know, a good 20-25 hours, it deserves a review, an honest review, somebody who's going to tell you exactly like it is, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And to do that, instead of forming my own review, I have found this guy's review. It's one of you subs, actually. You guys posted this in the comment section, and I kind of read it, and I find myself agreeing with over 90% of everything you said, bro. So if I could find your comment now, I'll put it up on screen. If not, this guy's name is Raptor236 and the Jurassic World Evolution forum. He posted a lot. He got a lot of hate for this, so it's okay though. I'm definitely gonna shout you out. We're definitely gonna read this because it is 100% spot on. I agree with it, and hey, you know, welcome to the reptile resistance, bro. You're one of us, and we're like a dinosaur protection group, guys. We you know, this game isn't what it needs to be, and I'm not nitpicking. It is a fact. There are basic things that were in JPOG that's not in this game, and for a game to be like JPOG 15 years ago, and even if those animations and those art styles and everything in that was full of bugs and the art was so 15 years ago, even if that's the case, it still had those elements in there that this game doesn't. But before we read this guy's review, let's just focus on all the positives. First off, it's been 15 years since a Jurassic Park simulator. IGN didn't take that into account for their rating, which I think they gave it a 5, right? A 5 out of 10. I think that's what it was. Well, we're going to go ahead and give it a 6.5. A 6.5 out of 10, not a 7. Definitely a 6.5. But the good things. There's a huge species profile. There's all kinds of different species that I never thought they would even introduce. I thought it was going to be like a good 30, 35 and to be all the basic ones. But no, they did a good job on the selection of dinosaurs. The game itself is beautiful. The artwork is spectacular. There's just so much went into the art of this game. And maybe it just overshadowed all the gameplay way too much because it is just so beautiful, so beautiful. And some of the skins for these animals are just simply stunning, And what animations they have, the few animations that they have for each dinosaur is good. It really is decent. Unfortunately, that's about where it ends. It's about where it ends. Once you get a look at each dinosaur, as soon as it comes out of the hatchery, that's the feeling you get. And then it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It loses its impact. There's no different animations. And even if that was, even if the entry animation was the same each time, the same repeat animations later on completely derail that. So anyways, that's the positive, and let's go ahead and get into this guy's review. I don't endorse every single thing that this guy said. Some of the stuff that he didn't say I will definitely leave out of the video, and some of the stuff is just like in these paragraphs, so I have to kind of include them a little bit. But for the most part, I agree with what this guy says 90%. I think it's a spot-on review, and I think it's honest enough for me to share with you guys and for me to hold it as my own opinion. And yeah, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. And please, before we get all the way through this review and you end up either hating me or loving me, go ahead and smack a like. Go ahead and subscribe if you're new. Don't worry, we do upload dinosaur content all the time. We may be pivoting with you know, Jurassic World Evolution kind of faltering in popularity. But we're still going to upload Jurassic World Evolution videos. We're just going to upload other videos too. We will also be having a second upload today, another review of Fallen Kingdom, and hint, hint, I actually kind of like that one. And also, if you guys want to read this guy's review, I'll have it linked in the top comment, pinned comment, I should say. So anyways, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Initial thoughts on the dinosaur list. Now, mind you, I'm speaking as this person. I'm reading their post. I just happen to agree with most of it. What I won't include is what I disagree with. You guys can check it out yourself to see the things that I disagree with. So we start off very positive. I like the variation in dinosaur species massively. I was pleased to see some lesser known animals like Polycanthus and Diplodocus here. And some of the skins of these animals are simply stunning. Right off the bat, very good, very positive. That's probably the first few hours of gameplay though, right? Isla Montanceros and my first 5 stars. Delving into the game from the very start, I found Montanceros, a good tutorial map with a decent mix of dinosaurs and a decent amount of room. 5-starring it was not massively difficult, especially when I had Ceratosaurus finally in place. One thing that did initially annoy me was how the buildings that were pre-placed totally wasted so much space, and I found I was able to shift them around to immediately make up space for what I really want in this place: more dinosaur exhibits. Initially, building variations was okay for guests. I'll come back to this. 2 issues came up from Montanceros. Firstly, they allow you to name your creatures, as if you will become somehow attached to them. However, dinosaurs die so flippin' much. Why do these creatures have such terribly short lifespans? Yes, I know, to make us all use the genetic modification system, but even then they still don't last amazingly long. The other issue that came up that really annoyed was the terrain system. It's awful. Why does each building need such a large amount of area around it? Why do flattened terrain areas stop you building because of terrain constraint? Why are all the terraforming tools so useful? But apart from those 2 issues, I mostly was happy with how things were. Missions made sense. It wasn't too difficult to balance the factions, and if they are annoyed, and the sabotage wasn't too bad. So I mean, he's typing really fast here. Some of the sentences aren't fully formed, but I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Like the lifespans are terribly short. So why would we want to name any dinosaur, and why would we want to get attached to it? Why would we want to name a Rex Rexy if 3 hours into gameplay you look over and it's just dead of old age? There's not a timer in the game. There's not a sense of time. You don't know how long it's passed. So it kind of really makes no sense, especially being as the actual Rexy was around in the late 80s and survived all the way up until, 2019, right? Apparently in the movie 2018, 2019. So why are these dinosaurs dying so quickly? And if they're not dying quickly and that amount of time is actually going, that the time span should eke into Fallen Kingdom, right? Which it doesn't. Owen and Claire are obviously still paid personnel of the park in some sort of way. Isla Muerta, or however you spell it. The moment I got to... So he moves on to the next island, Isla Muerta. The moment I got to island number 2, the amount of things I liked started to decrease against the amount of negative points. The terrain system was still annoying here, and the lack of space was starting to bug me. Sure, there were some new dinosaurs to play with, and I liked the mission still. It was nice to get a few new dinosaurs to boost the park's early score. However, when the security missions asked me to get a Dilo and a Velociraptor to fight, I felt my good drain away just a little. During the fight, the Dilo did not use its venom spit even once, which struck me as a little odd. And then from that moment on, I couldn't stop seeing the copy-pasted animations. Why do herbivores socialize in small triangular groups? Why don't Ceratopsin rut? Why don't Dracorex rut? And more I thought to myself, well, JPOG had this, why doesn't this? And more, my only answer was, Universal probably rushed them. It'll be fixed post. And maybe I maintained that hope as I went along to number 3. Isla Ticano, further annoyances. And once more, I started the now becoming tedious of... And once more, I started the now tediousness of putting down the identical, boring-looking white and black buildings. Only this time, I had so little cash that the game gave me ample time to investigate other issues. Straight off the bat, I started getting annoyed with why this game is trying to make you run a shopping center. Why do we need fast food place, a restaurant, and a bar? all for food and drink, why can't we just have a food place and the rating of the food and drink very dependent on what you serve? They are basically all the same size anyway, so it's not like some are easier to place, thanks to the awful terrain system. Why do we need a gift shop and a toy shop and a fossil shop? Why do we need a bowling alley and an arcade? Are you telling me that the guests coming to a dinosaur island are that disinterested with dinosaurs that they choose to spend their time in an arcade? And now I agree with this. At first, I wasn't going to include this, is because if you're going to have a main street, and the main street in the movie did have a lot of those areas, but again, the main street in the movie was a lot larger of an island than, or at least larger of an island that they've built on than what we get to actually build on. So it would make sense they have a lot more buildings, fast food places like that, because there's so many people. However, if you're going to have a main street, why would there be a gift shop, a toy shop, and a fossil shop? You know, why not just, you know, different themed gift shops? One, you know what I'm saying? Like, it does kind of make sense that there is, you know, why would you have just the gyrosphere and just maybe the monorail as attractions when you could have, you know, when all these are technically just placeholders for little small buildings that could be attractions? Like, you're telling me that one of those little fast food areas, you can just take that building away and it could have been the small little, you know, baby petting zoo, right? Like, it could have been that. There could have been a lot more attractions along with these fast food joints and small shops that they could have included with, you know, the main street. And so I trudged on. New dinosaurs, yay. Only by now I was sat there watching these things and wondering why all these creatures feel like damn robots. So many copied animations. Also, why don't hadrosaurs that could rear up on hind legs eat from tall feeders? More tedium as I waited for money to come in, and at last I could breed one Parasaurolophus. It looked beautiful, and then it went mad because to keep it happy, you have to have like 4 or 5, and I was left wondering why you can't see a dinosaur's social requirement before you clone it. Why can't you see the skin's look before you clone it? The game certainly needs some quality of life improvements here. I also agree with this. Yes, it does make sense that a Parasaurolophus needs 5 or 6 of its own kind to be happy, but you don't know about that until you hatch it, you release it. And then even when that happens, like, it takes a little while for you to figure out what it really needs. You can look at the meter and stuff, but a few minutes will go by and he immediately just gets completely disgruntled and just starts, you know, headbutting a concrete wall 2 or 3 times, and the concrete wall is completely destroyed. It just makes no sense to that. Even a Parasaurolophus who doesn't have a bunch of friends around wouldn't destroy walls. They would just be very depressed. They might even get sick, you know what I mean, because they don't have enough of their own kind with them. So I think that the game is definitely just geared towards breaking dinosaurs out as often as possible, because there is no playability. That's the only thing you have to do, is to keep your dinosaurs in the pen. That's it. My park expanded and I got my Rex, and all was good, and then the real bullshit started. Oh, I see you have ignored security for a while. I'm going to lock every gate open now. Which doesn't seem like a problem at first, but that's literally the only issues you have as far as sabotage goes. For the next 45 minutes, I suffered this procedure 5 times. They didn't vary the attack. Nope. Just the same thing over and over again. Sometimes even when I was doing missions for them. So even if you do missions... Sometimes even when I was doing missions for them. Incidentally, while it is the science department hates you finding fossils when the security division asked for it, that just seems so damn stupid. Each time the gates were locked open, the same thing would happen. Carnivores would get into herbivore paddocks and massacre every single last one, acting like nothing but COD players in a death match. And when certain dinosaurs like Maiasaura and Parasaurolophus need 5 or so dinosaurs to be happy, by the time everything was back under control and I was starting to recover, they would attack again. It became so tedious that once I 5-starred the island, I left and never came back. But if I thought it was that tedious, I was in for a big shock. So I do agree with him. There is no actual gameplay within the game except for build the enclosure, release the dinosaur, and keep the dinosaur from breaking out. And the dinosaur breaks out so often and so frequently over, you know, maybe you add, maybe you have a big herbivore environment and your struthies need, you know, a little bit more forest. Well, you plop down just a tiny bit of forest, and then that forest completely overhauls the parasaurs, and their forest meter goes down just a little bit into the red. Just a little bit into the red means that they're just constantly breaking out now, and it just doesn't seem balanced. It doesn't seem realistic. Isla arbitrary difficulty, aka Pina. Moving on. Where do I start with this waste of space? So dull I never bothered to screenshot it. Firstly, the size limitation is ridiculous. However, it would be manageable if it wasn't for the missions. More on that later. Again, building the same tedious white and black buildings, the same boring dull parks with no variability, but hey, new dinosaurs is all the map seemed to scream at me. So I grinded onwards. Finding Pina's lack of space in the terrain system conspiring against me, and then the missions came in. The science mission was immediate annoyance as I'd filled the southernmost tip with a T-Rex. I mixed small herbivore place and a preset concrete paddock, which incidentally I managed to make twice as large by actually placing the fence correctly up to the border. With a split of half mix of Dracorex and Ceratosaurus. However, the science mission required at least 2, if not 3 new paddocks for 3 species, so I plodded on, using up the only other area of land large enough to make paddocks, and then the Chasmosaurs became a problem. I could only incubate 2 at a time, and was having to trank the helicopter, having to trank them with the helicopter, and then once done, move them to the new paddock. While the incubation building was so massive, it took up so much space, and only Chasmosaurs are basically the PMSing Ceratopians, who, unlike Triceratops and Torosaurus and like to basically smash everything up if they are unhappy. Numerous times I had to counter this. Again, the security division attacked me by opening my gates. However, I stopped this being an issue by placing fences around gates. True, I had to remove a small strip of fence to call in rangers, but calling in a ranger is such an annoyance and a fuss that it didn't make it worse. So no, what made Pina worse was the stupidity of the entertainment and security missions. Both ask you to make a T-Rex with different features. I had room for only 1 at a time. Another issue was when I failed the entertainment mission as Rexy escaped and wanted to redo it. The guy forced me to make another Rex, even though the last one was still alive. So for 2 missions I had to make 3 Rexes. In the end I had to keep selling off dinosaurs to make the room, which felt rubbish. Why can we not send dinosaurs to other islands when we go back? But there were things properly broke for me. But where things properly broke for me was when I suffered my first tornado. These massive weather systems were terrible in JPOG. They killed guests, dinosaurs wrecked up the place, they were hateful. And yet the tornadoes here, well, they barely break anything. They do a little damage, but not terrible. They don't kill guests or dinosaurs. So that's what's the point of even having them about, as opposed to storms like we have on Murta. If a tornado should kill things, that's true. He's right about that. And as far as Pina goes, yeah, they definitely need to have a better, I guess, mission balance. People shouldn't be, because a lot of the missions are the same depending on which 3 of the divisions you go through. A lot of times, you know, each mission will have you hatch or get a couple fossils, even though that should be primarily a science mission, right? So then you come into the fact of science and security both want you to make a fossil. They both want you to... They both want you to make a fossil. So you get one mission that's you have to make a 50% genome, and then you do that, and then you have no other 50% genomes left. Well, then the next mission you get to 50% genome from the science. Like in the game, yes, you can go in and you can say, you know, I don't want that contract, I need to request a new contract. You can do that, but the game should also be smart enough to recognize that they've given you a two similar missions. They've given you two same missions, and that's not cool. They should give you a different option. And on top of that, if there's a if the game should recognize that there's fossils that you can't quite incubate yet, which means you can't get them to 50% because you haven't done whatever you do to unlock that particular fossil dig site, right? They don't do that. You have to just cancel the mission and go request another one, when the game should be smart enough to just tell you which ones you need, which ones you don't need. Generalized thoughts: the dinosaurs. Why do some dinosaur skins look really amazing and detailed, while some, like the Velociraptor skins, look really dull as dishwater? There are the colors and the patterns of the other species that we've seen. Where are they? He's right about that. The Velociraptors from early on in the original Jurassic Park are plain Jane. And then, we know were some males introduced on Sorna, and there's been some breeding and stuff like that. And then the raptors, get brighter and brighter and better skins. And then we go ultimately up to Blue and Echo and Delta and Charlie, and they had some really nice patterns. Yeah, they don't have that great of patterns, and it just is what it is. That's true. A lot of the dinosaurs do have awesome detail, and then some of them, like some really good fan favorites like the Velociraptor, just completely left out to wash. Why do dinosaurs not have unique animation sets? I really hope this will be fixed in post-launch. Why do raptors break fences and not climb them? Could a small dino really break down a heavy steel fence that easily? Some dinosaurs are chores to have, and because the dinosaurs don't feel unique, there's no reason to bother with them. Maiasaur, Parasaurolophus, Chasmosaur, Brachiosaur, Camarasaurus, Stegosaurus spring to mind immediately. I get the idea is to make them difficult to look after, but if you combine that with a terrain system that doesn't work, a need system that is a radius based rather than paddock based, and the fact that the dinosaurs feel like robots and die so fast, why bother? Why do carnivores have such terrible social skills? Are large dinosaurs, it makes sense, but for smaller ones, they seem to have a very limited social bar. So you end up with mostly empty paddocks wasting limited space. Why don't herbivores socialize? Why don't dinosaurs sleep or lay down like we saw in the trailer footage? Why don't dinosaurs, gain food from grazing or on grass and trees? Also, this would make these things feel actually alive and not like robots. He is 100% right here. It might seem like nitpicking if you're a Planet Coaster fan, but if you're a dinosaur fan, yeah, raptors should climb fences. They shouldn't be able to break down a steel or concrete enclosure with a headbutt. They shouldn't be able to do that. They're not pachycephalosauruses, and even a pachycephalosaurus should take quite a while before it breaks through concrete or steel. I mean, just look at the movie. They were stuck in that little cell. Spoilers, sorry. They were stuck in a little cell for quite a while, and it took quite a while for that was it a packy? Anyway, to break through, right? It took a while to break through. So they're just not realistic, and they knew that huge Dinophiles and JPOG fans were going to buy and play this game, and you think that they weren't going to go, hey, look, this was in JPOG, this wasn't. Yeah, the Raptor skin and the Raptor animation and all the building stuff in JPOG was 15 years in the past, and it looks like it's 15 years old, and that game was 15 years old. But if a Raptor can climb out of a fence in JPOG, why can't it do it here? Yes, this game looks beautiful compared to JPOG. Just the artwork in and of itself is 1,000 times better. But that's just lipstick on a pig. That means nothing if dinosaurs don't behave the way they're supposed to behave. General thoughts: visitors and park buildings. Why do all the buildings in this game look so dull and boring? Just a sea of white and black and gray. Where's the colors? Couldn't we at least alter the color of the buildings ourselves? Why do we have to have a research building on every island? But we can use research buildings on other islands doing research. Why can't we access those buildings whenever? Why do the hotels not serve food or drink? Practically every hotel does these days. Given how large it is and how difficult to place, it can't do that too. Why do we have to surround it with 3 or 4 buildings to keep guests fed and watered? Why do we need so many buildings that do the same thing, only a little better or worse? Why not have a single food or a single gift or a single entertainment building? We are playing a dinosaur zoo game, not a build your own shopping center game. Why do the guests feel so arbitrary with terrible behavior? Why do they run into dinosaur enclosures? Why do we have people coming who want to see more carnivores or more herbs? Good point. Why are there so few ways to show off your dinosaurs? A viewing gallery or a tower or the gyrosphere to replace the safari, basically. The monorail, I don't count as an attraction, whatever people say. Why not a balloon tour or a viewing dome or a safari jeep thing? Or if you want a Jurassic World, is there not a river or a cruise system? Why no decorative items? I don't know any zoo builder like game that doesn't have stuff like this. Spot freaking on. First off, I just want to say that generalized thoughts on dinosaurs that I just talked about, they definitely should add pack hunting and territorial domain. They have, you see like the electrical zones and what things are going to be powered if you click the management tab, and there's, you know, big electrical areas. Well, they can do the same thing with territory. If you have a huge paddock and there's carns mixed in with herbs, well then guess what? The carn can just stake out a certain area of land, and any herb who happens to cross through its own territory, guess what? That's when it eats. That's how you can do that. It's easy fix. Okay, so back to general thoughts and you know, park buildings. Yeah, you know, I'm not so against the entertainment buildings, the food buildings, the gift shops, as long as there's more space. You got to have more space if you're going to just, you know, convolute up all the space with stuff that's not even needed, and stuff that you can. The only thing you can change is you know, dino bites from $4 to $8. So yeah, if they're going to have all the extra buildings, they need to have extra space. Because all that stuff just takes up all the space, and you end up not wanting them, you know, in the long run. And he's right, we are playing a dinosaur zoo game. So any attractions that we have should be within the movie, within the canon, and the only one we get is a viewing tower, a gallery, and a gyrosphere. And you can call them monorail, but really it's a transit system. It's not really, it's not really an attraction. I mean, it is an attraction, but it's more of a transit system. It's to move people from one part of the park to the other part of the park, which really makes no sense because the park really isn't that big, or at least the buildable area isn't. Okay, so now let's move on to general thoughts, the mission, plot, and characters. Why the hell is Owen Grady on the security side? Why would he be on their side after everything he sees in Jurassic World and actively fights against them? This makes zero sense. Claire is such a forgettable character, and her gratificating attitude in this game and the films comes across as really hateful. She should be in jail for even thinking Endorex was a good idea, not stating, if I had it my way, everyone could see these dinosaurs. Leaving out, but we have to make a fortune somewhere, right? Woo. Science Lady, I actually like. I like that she is about these creatures' behavior, making them healthy and happy. Shame she has a little input with Wu. I would have liked to see more interactions between them both, of the ethics of what they are doing, considering that has always been a part of the franchise. Dr. Wu, really like. He comes across as a semi-megalomaniac and makes it really great to hate this bad guy, if we can call him that. Where is the plot? You give us dedicated islands and a campaign, but no such plot. That's true. That's true. You know, if Dr. Wu's technically the bad guy, he doesn't act like the bad guy. And if the Science Lady is really concerned about the dinosaurs, she should give you missions that better tend to the needs of the dinosaurs, and maybe even sabotage you when security wants you to have a Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus fight, right? Maybe. Okay, so, and Dr. Wu and the Science Lady, they never come to a head. Nobody ever really gets mad at each other. There's no rifts. There's just a little bit of sabotage, and that's it. And then everybody pretends like they're happy again. So, entertainment guy. Forgettable. Ian Malcolm's inclusion, again, I like it. I found myself quoting Hammond many times. I really hate that man. But he was good as a neutral outsider. Why are some missions not really suited to work with each other, especially when basically to get everything from this game you have to level up all the divisions anyway? Rewards should be generic, and you should be able to choose which division you purely want to socialize in, and this should feed into the wider plot story. Again, like much of the game, it lacks depth. General thoughts, miscellaneous. Let's run through this real quick. Why can't we kill rampaging dinosaurs? Why can't we install a kill gene like the lysine contingency? Once the Fallen Kingdom DLC drops, I will have 48 dinosaur species to choose from, but hardly any land to put them on. There is serious lack of replayability here. Once you have 5 stars, everything, what then? Nothing. Why can't you not trank dinosaurs from Jeeps? Why can't you take photos from choppers? Why are 2 of the Jeep skins basically just a Jeep in red and a Jeep in blue? Why not JP Safari Jeep? And why not give us a choice in Jeep color? Why do carnivores that we know were probably fish eaters, mostly Spinosaurus, Suchomimus, and probably Baryonyx, but no fish feeding option or deep water options whatsoever? In fact, you can't even make deep water. You can't make the water. It looks like a puddle, like it just rained for a couple hours. Since this game wants to make Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom look great, why can't we have skins of our raptors for Blue, Charlie, Delta, Echo, etc.? Why do we not have aquatic reptiles and flying reptiles? I'm assuming this may have been a time issue. Maybe it'll come with DLC, but again, they haven't just came out and said, yes, we're getting it. And on top of that, they haven't even, they've only said that, well, if millions of people want it, then we'll do it. So, yeah. Why do we not have the ability to build paths above and below ground? Why do we have to put horrid-looking pylons everywhere? Why do carnivores not damage or pose a threat to your Ranger Jeeps, but try to attack them anyway? This makes it look like there are some unfinished animations and gameplay here. Was this attacking animation a leftover or a whip of them, you know, posing dangerous to your Rangers? Right? You know. Well, I mean, is it just unfinished? Is that it? To, you know, for time? And overall opinion so far. In conclusion. Is this game good? Yes. Is it a good zoo game? No. Is it better than JPOG? No. Could it be that good or could it be better? Yes. Very, very easily. Give us some cosmetics. Let us place some rocks, some bushes, some flower beds. Let us place a few of those things. Let us place some trash cans. And then give us a few different terrain editing tools. And then let the dinosaurs stake out territorial land and hunt. Those are all you need to make this game what it needs to be. Forget all the extra animations, forget all the repeat animations, forget even different animations for guests dying. It could be the same animation forever. And we don't even get no new buildings, no new attractions. What you can do is you can give us new terrain editing tools. Give us sand. You can give us some rocks. You can give us, even if the rocks are part of a terrain tool, you can give us that. You can give us trash cans. You can give us flower beds, flower boxes. You can give us anything that's decorative and anything that's terrain tool. Give us hunting dinosaurs and give us territorial staked land dinosaurs. That way we can make an actual ecosystem. All of that was in JPOG. All of it was in JPOG. We need that in this game. Jurassic World Evolution suffers what a lot of games suffer these days, and that's a lack of depth. This was 50 quid pre-ordered in the deluxe edition, a fairly high price tag, but I trusted the developer as I really enjoyed Planet Coaster. Jurassic World Evolution, however, suffers a terrible lack of depth and interest. Islands feel samey, too small, and lack really unique things like story or plot. Much of the dinosaurs' difficulty is brought about by its flawed system, terrain issues, dinosaur needs, lack of space. There's a lack of immersion, robotic dinosaurs, robotic guests, which also doesn't help. Much of your gameplay is spent either handling the annoyed issues, constant feeder filling, disease, and dead dinosaurs, or grinding repetitive contracts to get divisions individually high enough for dinosaurs. That's the only playability you have. The feeders run out so quick, the dinosaurs get diseased so easily, and the dinosaurs die so fast. That's all and they make it that fast on purpose. That way you have to feel like you're constantly busy, you're constantly doing something, you're constantly clicking here, clicking there, clicking here, clicking there, clicking here, clicking there. And that's it. There's no actual gameplay going on. You're just, you know, hatching new dinosaurs and keeping dinosaurs from breaking out and filling up feeders. And it happens so often, you can't do anything else anyway. Instead of dinosaurs acting like dinosaurs in a natural environment, as you can see in the movies, right? Anyway, so what's disappointing is that I can see the potential in this game. It has tons of it, but whether or not it achieves that potential is unknown. At the moment, we all seem to be trusting Frontier will make this game better and support it, but we don't have that guarantee, do we? And if they don't fix some of the common complaints, terrain issues, AI issues, space and game replayability, then what do we have? The question really here is, why buy Jurassic World Evolution when you can play JPOG, which is deeper, more immersive, and at the end of the day, it doesn't include such heavy grinding gameplay. Please, Frontier, make Jurassic World Evolution the game it should be. So that was a letter from a heartfelt fan of the franchise. This is a fan who obviously has spent a greater portion of their life being a fan for this franchise, not Marvel, not Star Wars, you know, not any sort of DreamWorks animation or anything like that. Not any kind of Disney stuff, but Universal. This is a fan of yours. This is a fan of Jurassic Park. This is a fan of Michael Crichton's, the guy that you're supposed to be honoring with your movies. This is a fan of Steven Spielberg. This is a fan of you, Universal. This is a fan. Don't be mean to this guy. I'm just looking at some of the comments, and a lot of people attack him. Don't do that. You know, unlike Star Wars, who are completely shitting all over their fans, you're not that, Universal. You've done pretty good with Jurassic World so far. There's a couple things here and there, but you know what? Overall, we've done really well with this. This game needs to be better. And Frontier, Universal, you guys need to step out and in the limelight, and you need to say, look, yes, this game isn't 100%. We're sorry for telling you that it was 100% at launch. And that we read and we see a lot of your problems, and we're going to address the majority of them within a decent amount of time, and you know, with our best intention. That's all they have to say. That's all they have to say. It can be in an interview. It could be in a face-to-face interview. It could be in a phone call. It can be in a tweet. It can be in anything. Just Frontier and Universal, they have to get together. They have to decide that this game was not what it should have been. And you know, look, a lot of people want to say that they don't have time, that they didn't have time, right? I addressed this at the beginning of the video, but just hear me out. Jurassic World Evolution bought the rights pretty much to JPOG, so what they're making is a JPOG game, right? Universal owns those rights, technically. They knew what shoes they were going to fill. They knew what the fans have been waiting for. They knew it had been 15 years. And they knew that there was still a strong fan base that were still playing JPOG. So they knew the contract they were signing. They knew how deep of water they were getting in. They knew that they had big shoes to fill. And they signed that contract anyway. Okay, so that's the end of the video. You know, love it or hate it, it is the way it is. We have broken down every single thing that is wrong with this game. That's not nitpicky. These are actual things that just should be in the game. These are things that were in JPOG for the most part, even if it was on a 15-year, you know, grittier version of it. You know, just the ability to place a bathroom in JPOG, just automatically makes that game a little better. Just the ability to be able to do that kind of stuff. So what is the goal for this review? It's an honest review. I wanted to tell you guys exactly how I felt. This guy's review is pretty spot on. I left out a couple of things that I didn't agree with, but you can read it for yourself. It's not a bad review, and it's honest. It is honest, and I don't want to just give negativity. This game needs to be better. This fan base, all of you guys, all of us, you know, the generation from the 90s and the generation from the early 2000s have been waiting for this game for 15 years. It's almost been 2 decades. I don't want to say we deserve better, but we definitely expected better. And with modern tools and with modern development teams and the amount of money that a lot of these that Universal has anyway, why is it not? Why is it 1/4 of the game it should have been? That's my only question. And don't worry, you know, I'm not going to just stop uploading Jurassic World Evolution content. I still do like the game. I'm still holding out for it to be better. We might just have to go back to, you know, the dinosaur profiles, the complete histories. We might just have to bring back that series and kind of go in depth into the lore that's within the game, because there is a big database, and I have to go through that anyway. So we're definitely gonna be uploading some more stuff about Jurassic World Evolution, but you know, I'm just gonna be honest that it's probably not gonna be 4 or 5 episodes of Jurassic World Evolution in a row anymore, even if it is some theories or speculation. Definitely not gameplay, because the game's beaten and there's nothing to see that anybody else hasn't already seen, which is really sad. Really sad. So yeah, guys, I mean, I don't want to leave this off on a horrible note, but if you need to be inspired and you need to be positive, click back to the beginning of the video where I acknowledge all the good things about the game. So yeah, so that being said, we will upload more of this game, but eventually it will taper off, and you know, we're going to have to find some different games to play, guys, because let's just be honest, this game isn't what it needed to be. And if they come out and they say some stuff, you know, I'm definitely going to keep you guys posted, and we're definitely going to hold out for hope that this game could be what it needed to be. But you guys know that I'm 100% honest with you. The fanboys out there can be mad at me, but the facts remain the same, that this game is not what it should have been. So anyways, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
You had me at hello. Oh, baby!